Welcome everyone to the simulation frequency. On today's episode, we're going to be covering the art of dream rehearsal in your lucid dreams. And before we get into the protocol that I've been using recently, I want to just talk about a few disclosures and overall lucid dreaming and what it is. So lucid dreaming is the overlap between theta dominant REM and alpha gamma prefrontal activation. When the prefrontal cortex wakes up inside REM, the dream becomes interactive consciousness. So the bottom up input is silence and the top down models dominate. There's myelination and synaptic pruning, which strengthen dream pathways used for emotional regulation and skill rehearsal. So the brain treats imagined experiences as real, firing mirror neurons and autonomic responses as if physically happening. So in short, lucid dreams are controlled hallucinations with zero energetic resistance. This is where the mind can rewire its predictive model directly. So this is where you're able to have that simulated training ground for the next map of reality that you want to experience. Your lucid dreams are just dreams within the larger dreams. I'm sure you may have heard this, but I'm going to talk about this in a little bit of a different way. Oftentimes you will hear people saying that it is your consolidation of events throughout the day, which there is a truth to this. But if you go in with the intention of having a specific outcome of the lucid dream and you rehearse this and do this over and over again, I believe it alters the 3D reality that you are in your waking dream. Because this is all a holographic projection of the Godhead, of the mind. We are all just fractalized light, if you will, being streamed out. And I have other episodes on this if you would like to hear me go deeper on this topic. But to get back to the lucid dreaming part, different realities that we're constantly shifting in and out of. And quantum physics shows this with, for example, the double slit experiment. If you observe something, it changes. The moment you start to observe it and lay some sort of awareness over it, paths begin to change, spins change. There's all these different oddities that can occur. And what this means is that we're constantly shifting. We are constantly choosing new realities in every single millisecond, and our brains render reality a little bit on a time lag. I have other videos on this too, because technically there is no such thing as time and space. These are just waves of momentum that our human mind has compartmentalized into calling space and time, right? This all comes from imagination. So what you're doing is just going into deeper levels of imagination that you may have not known that you were able to access. I want to make this clear that this is getting weird and brushing up with the liminal side of the simulation. You can experience some trippy feelings and thoughts, and I just want everybody to be conscious of this because it is very much so akin to being on maybe a LSD trip. I have done this before when I was extremely young and I didn't know what I was doing, and things instantaneously cropped up for me the moment I thought about them, just like you experience in a lucid dream. That's why I feel like these are all the same modality, just blurring different lines. And when you come out of the simulation, it is just a larger body of frequencies that we experience that are out in the ethers, if you will. And in the simulation, it's a more compartmentalized, dense base of frequencies where we can see and experience what we do on a day-to-day basis. And I've mentioned before in videos, everything has already been imagined by God. You are just tuning into the frequency of that imagined state that has already occurred, basically, is what you're doing. So when you're lucid dreaming, you are tuning your frequency to align you to the reality that you want to experience next, because the brain is a predictive machine. It will be predicting your next move, your next experience, your next anything that's going to happen to you in the sim. So you want to train your subconscious to automatically expect certain things that you are wanting to experience, not just living haphazardly by everything else and allowing open consciousness to control your thoughts, actions, feelings, wants, needs, desire, etc., etc. All of this is supposed to be for your lived experience, and you can use this level of lucid dreaming to experience it in the now, and then it will then fold into the future. This is why it is very popular in the Neville community to say, feel it real, or feeling is the secret, because if you can feel it right now, and for example, in your lucid dreams with the intention, so say for example, a very simple one, a lot of people like to get new cars. So say you want a new car, you can go into the lucid dream with the intention and expectancy and the predictive modeling of all the ways that you could potentially get this car. So you start to practice that in the lucid dream, and then you hone in on that actual reality, and then suddenly you get the car. It shows up, maybe not in the exact way that you want it, or sometimes in the exact way that you want it. This is the same thing that happens with those lottery winners that have lucid dreams, or that have dreams where they're given numbers, or they are told to play, or they have a very live lived experience in the dream of hitting the lottery, and then they go out and hit it. Very much so on the same modality. You are aligning with that specific frequency, with that alternate reality where you have won, where you have got the car, where you have moved to the house, where you have gained whatever it is that you're looking to achieve. And you do not have to do any of this. This is not necessary. I am a conscious explorer. I love diving deep into these topics. This excites me. I like to explore. This feels like expansion to me. Many people on the internet may say that this is all pseudoscience, that this is extremely fringe and nonsense, that you don't need any of this. And there would probably be other coaches that say this is all effing hogwash and you just have to think of something and let it go and you'll get it. And that's very true for a lot of things, but I find that the more you start to dig deeper, the more you start to hone in on this fun side of reality. And it's not just about thinking of something and just gaining all this material wealth. It's having these really cool experiences in different ways, and then seeing how your reality plays them out in front of your eyes, knowing that you consciously wanted this and you subconsciously trained yourself to lead you in that direction, and then see it actually flourish, bloom. You planted the seed and it bloomed. So in this lucid dreaming concept, you can do things like making predictions over what you want. I'm thinking I would probably never go to a fortune teller. I never did in the past. And when I think about it, I don't want anybody ever predicting anything over my life except for me. So I will not be listening to anything that tries to dictate what could potentially happen in my reality other than me. So that's one important thing to recognize here. And this is all just levels of hallucination and hypnosis. If you think about it, we're hallucinating this reality. And I've also mentioned this in videos as well. So it's all this combined thing. It seems like they're all different languages, but they are not. So let's jump into this reality shifting protocol through lucid dreaming. So during phase 1, we're going to call this like your pre-sleep calibration. And this is your waking predictive alignment. And this is going to be like 20 to 30 minutes before bed. The goal here is to program your prefrontal render script, which is the outcome you want to train inside the lucid space. The steps are this: make sure you're journaling. You will hear this frequently in the lucid dreaming spaces, to journal, because that will help you remember your dreams. It will help you while you're in the lucid dream recognize that you're in the dream. And then have a visualization where you see exactly what you want to experience in the dream. You could prompt yourself with something like, when I see my hands, I'll know I'm dreaming. And I also want to introduce this new tool that I've been using called the LucidMe sleep mask. And this sleep mask has different cues that have been helping me wake up during the lucid dream, or wake up at different times where I can go into the lucid dream. And this device can be really trippy at first. I do want to warn you, you should make sure that you look into how to use this device. I will leave everything linked down below. I did reach out to the company and they were kind enough to give me a coupon code for you, so I will leave all of that below. You do not by any means need this to lucid dream. This has just been helping me because mask ends up recognizing when you're in that REM sleep, when you would want to start that lucid dreaming phase. And before you're falling asleep, it's setting off these red lights. So essentially, in the lucid dream, you start hearing you're in a dream, and the mask starts repeating this. So that became trippy at first, because it was almost like I had a loudspeaker on in the lucid dream telling me that I was in the dream. So it's very trippy and you have to adapt to it, and it can be a little startling when you first hear it. It's trippy. That's the best way to describe it, but also fun. It can verge on the cusp of being a little bit scary, but the more you practice with it, you get used to it, and then you start to really get used to it and enjoy the fact that it's rousing you into the dream, or that it's telling you while you're in the dream that you need to become lucid. And it's a really interesting device. I am still learning it. I'm still wearing it. I've been practicing with it for over a week now, I think. And I would say that it's important to take breaks. Don't attempt to lucid dream every single night when you first do this. You should be getting a good night's sleep. And often when you're trying to do these lucid dreaming practices, you can mess your sleeping up a little bit. Just like a note on that. So just be prepared for this. But once you get the hang of it and you start incorporating it in a way that's very comfortable to you, you can start experiencing the lucid dreams easier and identifying them easier, because you're wearing a sleep mask, one, which helps you black out your eyes and helps you go into a deeper state of meditation. And the mask also has sounds that come in through the side that are very calming. There's different modalities that you can choose from in the app, and it's just very cool, and I love it so far, and the concept is so fascinating. And I am going to leave all the information for the company down below. It is an individual gentleman that came up with this mask. I'm sure he has a team behind him, but he gives you all the instructions on how to use it and such, so I will be linking all of that below. And then before we end that whole session with the pre-sleeping, you want to make sure that you're feeling the emotional signature of whatever reality you're trying to get into, if that's freedom, wealth, love, mastery, whatever it is, and anchor it in your body, your heart, to create predictive coherence. So then we're going to go into phase 2, where we're going to synchronize with that tech. We're going to allow that soft cue, those red glows, to come in through the mask. And if you don't have a mask, there's other ways to induce lucid dreaming. There's techniques where you can wiggle your fingers while you're going into the hypnagogic state. That is the space where you are in between your waking and sleeping state. There's that liminal space there where I can actually start to tune into other realities, what it seems like. I can actually see what it feels like mind movies of other things going on in reality. I have no idea who these people are, what the situation is, and I'm able to kind of tune in and then realize that I'm tuned in and then refocus that into what I want to see. So that's one of the parts that's so interesting to me, is that while I gain focus of my mind, it often tunes into like these other realities that I have to tune out of and tune back into the reality that I want to see come up next on the screen of life, instead of allowing these kind of other mind movies that are random play out. And you can also, while you're falling asleep, affirm to yourself something like you are dreaming, you are safe, you are aware, and this will help you as well. There's just different ways to get into the lucid dreaming. You don't have to just use a mask, but I'm just telling you how I've been doing it at a more advanced level lately. So phase 3 is going to be the dream induction and recognition. This is where you're triggering your lucidity and stabilizing your awareness. And this can be tough. Sometimes it feels like you're spiraling out of control and then you like lose the dream. This happens, but you need to try to anchor yourself in something, like looking at something on the wall. And I talked about this before. There was a study done where the person in the lucid dream was able to solve a math problem that was given to her by the scientists that were testing. So it's basically trying to test yourself in the lucid dream. People say to check your hands, to look at clocks, to look at anything like a book that would potentially shift quickly in the dream, because it doesn't have such a solidified feeling like this actual 3D larger dream, if you will. And then we're going to go into phase 4, which is the simulation rehearsal. This is the dream coding phase. So here we're going to use the lucid space for predictive modeling. We're going to train the brain's render function. Walk into your ideal home, withdraw infinite money, interact with abundance. If you want to heal, visualize light repairing your body, feel your cells regenerating. If you want to practice a rehearsal, practice a skill, speech, or a creation, and the brain will store it as real. And how about something like exploration? Ask dream figures questions. They're symbolic data packets from your subconscious. And, you can use core commands like show me my next level, render my highest probability timeline, integrate the feeling of my desired reality. And don't control everything. Let curiosity lead. It strengthens adaptive prediction. That's why they're always talking about explore with childlike wonder, because it creates curiosity, and curiosity creates prediction. Very important things to start to create connections and connect the dots with. And then phase 5 is going to be that integration, which is your post-wake neuro download. Transfer the dream code into waking neural pathways. Immediately record voice notes or write them down. For example, LucidMe gives me reminders every day, which I love. And then write down any reoccurring symbols because they're predictive markers. And then feel the same emotional signature from the lucid scene while awake. This reactivates the neural ensemble that encoded during REM. So why this works is because lucid dreaming is predictive rehearsal without physical limits. By teaching your brain to expect a new state within the dream, you compress rendered time in waking life. You create myelination by repetition, which strengthens pathways tied to your desired outcome. You tune your reticular activating system, and this which wakens your perception towards matching experiences. And you're creating the emotional coherence. The heart-brain synchronization stabilizes belief as biological reality. So every night when you close your eyes, the simulation reboots itself through you. Lucid state isn't an escape from reality. It's the source code of it all. Each dream is a rehearsal, each feeling a frequency, each vision a command line written in light. You are not a passive observer of your dreams. You're the architect of both worlds. And the same electrical storms that light up your sleeping brain are the same signals that render the waking simulation. So tonight as you drift off, remember, the dream isn't separate from life. It's the workshop where you design it. Sleep consciously and rehearse vividly. And when you wake, watch the code compile. And until the next time, I know you will all continue to manifest magic and resonate on your highest frequency.